the U.S. and U.K. have been working for years to try and make a deal, and it never quite got there. It's just been a deal that was, we thought, very complicated. It became very simple. It's opening up the country that we really didn't have the kind of access to. They've been working on this deal for 25 years, and we got it done, and we got it done. Really, it's going to be great for both countries.
That was President Trump Thursday, touting what he called a breakthrough trade deal with the United Kingdom. Final details of the new agreement are still being negotiated, but the administration says the deal will provide $5 billion in new market access in the UK for American agriculture, chemicals, machinery, and other industrial products. Thursday's framework was the first to be announced since the administration's Liberation Day tariffs were rolled out and then quickly paused 5 weeks ago. We're back with Kim Strassel, Alicia Finley, and Wall Street Journal columnist Mary Anastasia O'Grady. So, Kim, size up the UK-US trade agreement for us. How good is it?
Yeah, well, look, it's a good deal, Paul. I mean, it's certainly some sort of progress, but I would also classify this very much as low-hanging fruit. The United Kingdom is a rare country that we actually have a trade surplus with, so they were as eager, if not more eager, to do this deal than we were, so it allows Trump to notch a victory. The countries, look, we also have a lot of shared economic and legal history, so our economies are a little bit closer. This is also a deal where a lot of our trade is with services, not with goods, which are always a bit of a trickier thing to negotiate. And look, it is going to result in tariffs coming down on a lot of products. But one thing I would note, Paul, is that 10% tariff that Donald Trump is set as a baseline is still going to remain for many, many things. And it's a further proof that he doesn't seem to be backing off that no matter what trade deals we get.
So, yeah, what does this tell us, this deal, tell us about the direction of Trump trade policy? Because he does seem to be backing up off a lot of the highest tariffs that he imposed, and he's scrambling. They're talking about these great deals to come every day, trying to send a message to markets that I think is reassuring. But on the other hand, there's still a lot of these tariffs are still in place, and that 90-day pause is ticking.
Yeah, I think Kim's right. This is low-hanging fruit. What I see this as an exit ramp for him, where he had hyped up the rhetoric really extreme, and now he's bringing it down, and that's good. I mean, I think we should be happy about that. I think you'll be happy, Paul, because if you're in the market for a Bentley or a Rolls-Royce,
oh yeah, thank you.
The tariffs will be lower than
I'm a Mazda is what I drive.
But there are lots of things. I mean, if you look at the fine print here, there are lots of things that aren't getting done. I mean, we still have the problem with the beef, and they're claiming that there are photosanitary rules that are not going to allow our beef into England. Chlorine-washed chicken still is a sticking point. There's also sticking points on things like digital trade, which is important. Which is really important. Yeah. So I'm all in favor of this because it's bringing down the extreme levels that he went to as the genius negotiator that he is, and bringing it into something that is more workable for the U.S. economy. I do think that this problem of uncertainty is still out there. I mean, they say this is a template for trade deals going forward, but there's still a heck of a lot of uncertainty here about how he's going to get this done. And he's done one in 30 days, so he's got 60 days left. The clock is ticking.
Alicia, what about the portents here for the economy? The Federal Reserve said this week that the tariff policy is going to lift prices and it is going to slow growth and maybe increase joblessness. We see reports that there are going to be shortages on retail shelves because shipments from overseas are way off. How much difficulty are we looking at here in the coming weeks?
Well, they say monetary policy has long and variable lags, and I would say the same thing about tariffs. I don't think we've really seen the full brunt of the impact, in part because a lot of companies have stockpiled goods and products, trying to get them in from China and other countries before the tariffs hit. And a lot of consumers went out and spent a lot in March, especially on autos, because they were worried about increasing costs because of the tariffs. So I think the GDP report from last year may have actually overplayed the growth, and we may see a slowdown as companies basically work through those stockpiles. And as you mentioned, the stores or the store shelves turn out to be empty. I think consumers are already starting to see them pull back. Employers, small businesses are slowing hiring. They're still replacing some people or workers who leave or retire, but there is definitely a slowdown. You already saw that actually under the Biden administration, and it's continuing. And I think the tariffs, especially the uncertainty, as Mary raised, is going to just exacerbate all this.
And Kim, is that the message that some of the president's advisors and indeed CEOs and others are making to the president? In private, obviously in public, the president says it's all fabulous and fantastic and it's going to be a bright, gorgeous, golden age. But behind the scenes, they're saying there could be some real pain here. And that's one of the reasons you see him trying to make these compromises on deals.
Yeah, I mean, there are pilgrimages to the White House right now, Paul. The phones are ringing off the hook from CEOs, investors, businessmen everywhere. Small businessmen, by the way, too. These are people that are going to be some of the hardest hit. Farmers, the Agricultural Committee, like just saying this is not going to work and we're going to have a terrible problem. And I think, maybe the president is learning some hard political lessons here, too. His comments about, children should just be able to deal with, 2 Barbies and 5 pencils. That's a message of hardship that most Americans don't want to hear.
Yeah, the $2 economy is not a real big selling point politically.
Hey, it's Will Cain. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Cain podcast for full episodes right now.